الحمد لله الحمد لله رب العالمين وأفضل الصلاة وأتم التسليم على سيدنا ومولانا محمد طب القلوب ودوائها ونور الأبصار وضيائها وعافية الأبدان وشفائها وعلى آله وأصحابه أجمعين أما بعد. Dear brothers, respected elders, Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi ta'ala wa barakatuh. Today, inshallah, we will begin our dars with the second asl, the second foundation, which relates to the topic of taqdees, the divinity of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, that He Jalla Jalaluhu is exalted and beyond any comprehension or any jism or any thing which can be quantitatively captured. This is a very important lesson for us all to understand, and more so to gain the understanding that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is beyond anything that we can comprehend in its entirety. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is beyond this. So this is the second asl, the second foundation of the deen. As you remember, in the last dars we discussed the first, which relates to the Dhat of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Today, inshallah, we will do taqdees, the divinity of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Know that وَأَنَّهُ لَيْسَ بِجِسْمٍ مُصَوَّرٍ. Know that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is not like a shape or body as we see. For example, we have a body is constructed of a shape. Similarly, all the things that we visualize and see, we know that they have bodies, like this building, this fan, the mobile phone, this bench. All of these are bodies. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is free from body. He subhanahu wa ta'ala is free from bodies, and we discussed this in the last verse as well, which relates to makan and so on. Furthermore, why is this necessary to understand? Because it relates very closely to the next understanding. You see, if you remember correctly, we understood from the first verse that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is wajibul wujud, necessary of existence. Nothing else is wajibul wujud, necessary of existence. For the more understanding person, this is enough to understand why Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is one, meaning the tawheed of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Therefore, and you will see now the structure, how Imam al-Ghazali is placing this. Therefore, in the first asl, we have done away with any ideology or religion or thought which brings forward multiple deities, multiple gods. For example, the Hindus believe in multiple gods, which count in the thousands. The different religions believe in various different things. Some believed in fire and worshipped it. Some believed in the celestial objects, sun and moon and so on, and believed in these things. In the first asl, we do away with all of this, meaning all of this is batil. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is one. In the second asl, in taqdees, the divinity of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, we further break down another notion which is present in some other religions. For example, the Ahlul Kitab, the Jews and the Christians, who also claim they believe in one God. The Jews and Christians claim they believe in one God. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala refuted this claim of theirs when Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala stated in Surah At-Tawbah, وَقَالَتِ الْيَهُودُ عُزَيْرٌ ابْنُ اللَّهِ. The Yahud, the Jews, claimed that Uzair is the son of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. وَقَالَتِ النَّصَارَى الْمَسِيحُ ابْنُ اللَّهِ. And the Christians claimed that Jesus is the son of God. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala mentions this is nothing more than false allegations and claims which they make only because they are following in the footsteps of those who before them disbelieved and made up these things. How does this relate to this asl? Because Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is divine beyond having any offspring, beyond having any child, any son, and so on. This is the divinity of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Therefore now, in the first asl, we have removed any idea, religion, or whatever you want to call it, which claims of multiple gods. And in the second asl, we have done away with any idea or thought which claims to believe in one God, but the claim is untrue. Like the Christians, for example, who claimed that Jesus is the Son of God. Jesus cannot be the Son of God because Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala does not have offspring. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala does not have children. He has no partner. He has no equal. Somebody may ask you the question, what is the logical evidence for this? And there are plenty of logical evidences for this. First and foremost, simply because for God to have offspring, it would require change. And we have learnt already that anything which has change within it, وَكُلُّ مُتَغَيِّرٍ حَادِثٌ. Anything which has change, the ability of change in it, is a created thing. Therefore, God would have also had to be created. But there are more subtle arguments a person can use. For example, I have a son or a daughter. The offspring will be the same as what I am. A human's child is always a human. A lion's child is always a lion. A donkey's child is always a donkey. If God were to have a child, his child must also be God. So how can you have two gods when you are claiming I only believe in one God? Therefore, their claim would be refuted. And this is just an easy argument with them. There's much more technical arguments where this claim can be refuted in a much more technical but more direct manner. Therefore, we understand that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is beyond any aib, any defect. He subhanahu wa ta'ala is divine, beyond any of this. But let me make one thing very clear here. When we say that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is not a jism, like a body, some sects took this idea to the other extreme, and they were refuted also. They became a sect known as the Naturists, who believe that the universe itself and nature itself is God, meaning God is just a idea. The entire nature and how it works with each other, and changing of the season and crops and flowers and the wind and sun, moon, all of this, how nature changes all of this. They started to claim that not only is God not a jism, in fact, He is nature itself. This also is a batil, void aqidah. It is not the correct aqidah. So what is the correct aqidah? Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala gave us the correct understanding which we should have, the aqidah which we should have. لَيْسَ كَمِثْلِهِ شَيْءٌ. Nothing is similar to Him subhanahu wa ta'ala. This is why one of the things which the Hindus are refuted on is, if you were to ask them, why do you bow down to an idol? Or rather than bow down, they put milk there or they put money in front of an idol. And they say, we don't worship the idol itself. Rather, we see that God is within the idol. God is within the idol. We're not worshipping the idol, but God resides within the idol. And we are in fact worshipping God. This is a very silly thing to say, because if God can be captured within certain parameters, for example, the idol and its shape, you can capture God in even smaller form. In fact, you can then, wal-i'iyāzu billah, put God in a little bottle and hold Him in your pocket and walk around, according to their beliefs. This is why we say that a person who does not have the intention to gain the ma'rifah of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, rather it is just tradition and what people before him have said, and they believe these things, such a person is a very foolish person. You'll find billions of people today which believe in this silly idea that God is inside this idol, and they will put milk there and waste milk, and they will put money there and waste it, believing that God somehow takes this. Right in the beginning of the dars, I presented an ayah of the Quran from Surah At-Tawbah. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said that this is the claim of the Yahud, that Uzair is the son of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. This is the claim. وَقَالَتِ النَّصَارَى الْمَسِيحُ ابْنُ اللَّهِ. And the Christians said that Jesus is the son of God. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala then refuted their claim and said they are just reiterating what those who disbelieved before them said. They're just reiterating and saying the same thing, because the generation before them said these things, they heard it, and they, without thinking logically or rationally about the thing, they just accepted it and continued to believe this and continued to propagate this belief. We learn multiple things from this ayah. One is the apparent, which is the refutation of this claim. But we also learn that a person should and must apply the brain which Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala granted him. And he should use it as a tool to gain the correct understanding of Aqeedah. Otherwise, he will just be reiterating like a parrot what he has heard from other people. So, let us read just this first part and then we'll end the dars. وأنه لا يماثل الأجسام لا في التقدير ولا في قبول الانقسام. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala cannot be quantitatively measured. As we are, for example, we can be measured quantitatively. Me, you can measure my height, you can measure my circumference, you can measure my weight. There's many ways that I can be measured against. Yes? You can measure my wealth, you can measure characteristics about me as well. How angry does this person become? Many things can be measured. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is beyond this. He subhanahu wa ta'ala is beyond this. And neither can Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala be divided into parts. This is the true and ultimate meaning of Tawheed for a person of understanding, when they truly understand this. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, وَلَا فِي قَبُولِ الْإِنْقِسَامِ, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala cannot be parted or made. For example, look at us, and not only us as human beings, but anything you see around you in creation, it can be separated and broken up down to its smaller parts, then down to its atoms, then down to its so on and so on and so on. There comes a point which is the smallest part, but it can be. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is free from this. أقول قولي هذا وأستغفر الله لي ولكم وأتوب إليه.